So one of the strangest compliments to receive is when someone says, I love your mindset. I don't want to say strange as in like, I don't love getting that compliment because I really do. But when I do, I'm always like, I didn't used to think like this. I used to have a very fucked up mind from kind of just a very young age at this point. By the way, there's like a very cool lightning storm going on behind me. So we're going to make the video like this so you can enjoy the lightning. Well, I rant, all right? But how do you unfuck your mind? You got to first understand why it's all jacked up in the first place, all right? And I believe, I don't even not even I believe, like I'm damn sure of it. Obviously, social media and whatnot, scrolling, short form, just people scrolling all day long. Again, ironic because I do it for a living, right? But the irony is that I do it for a living and make money with it, as do a lot of businesses. But if you're on the consumer side of things, okay, you're the unintentional scroller that's just brainlessly taking in all this stuff all day long. Other people's opinions are going to be shoved down your throat. You have people that you maybe hear a first time and then you're like, well, I love their opinion. They follow them. And then maybe they have some limiting beliefs and then they pass their limiting beliefs on to you, right? Or maybe you watch the news all the time. So you constantly live in a state of fear because that's literally all the news does is they try and scare you. If you haven't picked up on that yet, like, what are you doing? Pay attention. Obviously, that's exactly what they're trying to do. They try and scare you, and they do it really just for views, right? Obviously, and views usually lead to money and whatnot, so you can figure that out on your own. But that's literally the job of the news, is to just fear you so you're a little bit more controllable. So you stop watching the news, you start paying attention to what you're scrolling and consuming. That's probably one of the biggest things you can do. Because if you think about it, all that unintentional scrolling, all that fear mongering, and not knowing what you're going to see next, and you see something you don't want to see, and then all of a sudden your mind's all fucked up, right? Like, be aware of what you're consuming. So I started to, unfuck my mind when I started reading. Okay, I started reading some books. A lot of people are like, well, I'm not a reader. You know how you become a reader? You pick up a book. Congratulations, you're a reader. Right? Started reading books, but not books that I didn't care about, because that's the problem with school, is a lot of times they force you to read books that you don't even want to read, and then they make you do a report on them, so then you associate books with boring and worthless and bad grades and whatnot, so you don't want to read. Right? That was kind of me, at least. But I started reading books that, for a lot of people, they call them general mindset and corny stuff. Like I read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and I do believe that book helped change my life. Millionaire Fastlane, MJ DeMarco, 4-Day Work Week, Tim Ferriss, right? Atomic Habits. All these books, I started picking them up and just reading them instead of scrolling all day long. And so what happened is I started thinking a lot more positively, because I was like, what these guys are saying in these books all make so much sense. And I like the way that they think. I don't like the way all these other people online think, or around me, or people are having all these issues, your friends or whatnot, that's just constantly being all dramatic, right? And so you start picking up books, you start reading, you start educating yourself, and you start listening to people that you aspire to be like, and you stop listening to people that you wouldn't trade lives with. This is a really big part of it, okay? Who you cut out and who you let in. If you are in a toxic friendship, relationship, family members, whatever, people that don't make you happy after you hang out with them, people that you're with and you don't really feel like you're there, cut them out, okay? Like, I'm not saying you have to be a dick about it, but just, you're busy, right? You're busy, you're working on stuff, okay? So you've got to start surrounding yourself with like-minded people who have good head on their shoulders, okay? If you want to make a lot of money for yourself and you're constantly with friends that are going out every Friday and partying and drinking their lives away, what do you expect? Or are you going to be hanging around the people who are passionate about what the work that they're doing, and they're working hard for their future and they're building their business? You want to start hanging around those people. Okay? And if you can't find those people, start working on those things that those people are doing, and naturally you will get in the same room as them, in the same groups as them, in the same communities as them, right? A lot of the programs and mentorships I joined, I met a lot of friends through there, because we're all fighting for the same thing here. We have similar heads on our shoulders, all right? And I'm like, these are the people I want to surround myself with. So I started hanging around people that genuinely have, like-minded mindsets to mine. So it affirms positive beliefs and not the limiting negative beliefs that society will throw at you. You want to quit your job? Great. All the people are going to be coming up to you. Yeah, sure. Maybe because they care about, wow, you're quit. What are you going to do to pay your bills? Aren't you nervous? What about your benefits? What about your 401ks? Do you want that in your life, or do you want the dude? Congratulations on quitting your job. There's no going back. Let's fucking grind. Let's put the work in because you can do it. You're capable of anything that you want. Which person do you want in your life? Okay? Be selective about your group. That is going to unfuck your mind. Okay? What else is going to unfuck your mind? Being able to articulate your thoughts. This is kind of a weird one because this is something that I really didn't believe this would help, but it does help, okay? Picking up your phone and posting content on social media. That thing alone, combined with all of this other stuff, intentional consumption, educating myself with books and podcasts and YouTube videos and listening to like-minded people, surrounding myself, getting in the same rooms as like-minded people, okay? Now picking up the phone and articulating the thoughts and the how do I put this? Say you're watching a YouTube video, okay, and you get inspired, okay, taking what you feel that inspiration, getting it out into the world. That's a lot of what my content is I can feel that, I take something that I heard in a podcast, I'm like, I like that, if that inspired me on a thought, let me just post it. Just do that, and it gets you better at articulating your thoughts. Okay, it's not always the greatest strategy in the world to grow a personal brand. Like, you do want, at the end of the day, some sort of niche that you're talking about when you're trying to grow a following, but ultimately, like, the thing that happens is just you picking up the phone and just being willing to put yourself out there is going to unlock a lot for you. And you're going to start carrying yourself better. You're going to start speak better, especially when you do start getting the followers and do start making the money. Okay. I do TikTok Shop and UGC, content creation for a living and coaching. I coach on TikTok Shop and UGC. Okay. I'm a coach for one of the largest supplement brands in the world on TikTok Shop. All right. Here's the big thing though. Okay, I did not used to think the way that I do now. And I want to clarify this to everyone watching. I had a very, I don't know if I can do this mindset, or the world's against me mindset, or, victim mentality, for lack of a better word. I mean, like, I've always been aware of victim mentality, but I kind of had it, I'd complain about my financial position, yet I applied for the job that I'm currently in. Think about it. Like, I complained about, the jobs I work in, I was deeply unsatisfied, but I applied to be there. I'm there, right? I got myself in that hole. So I started saying, damn, like, this is my mess to fix, okay? This is my problem to fix, which gave me back control, okay? But I didn't used to think, like, I can do this. I used to feel very hopeless. I blamed a lot of my problems on things that I couldn't control. Life will only get better when you just take full accountability. When you're the only one that can possibly determine your success. No other factor or force is going to, dictate whether that you can succeed in this world or not. Once you determine that it's all on you, you get all the power and you can do anything that you want. So that's another way to unfuck your mind, is genuinely give yourself full power, which means you have to take full accountability of everything, good and bad. And that's scary for a lot of people. They're not willing to do that. You feel like the world's against you. You feel like there's nothing you can do. You feel like, I'll give you a very clear example of what it's like to have a fucked up mind. You ready? Because this was me. I'd be miserable at my job. I'd complain to everybody that I did not want to go to work on Monday. I'd sit in a half cubicle from Monday to Friday doing work that brought me quite literally no joy. I'd come home from work, be sad about my day because I didn't want to go to work the next day. Okay, and I'd scroll to take away the pain of tomorrow. And not even just scroll. Sometimes it was even like healthy habits, like the gym. I went to the gym all the time. I still do go to the gym all the time. But I was spending a lot of time there just like to pass time and get myself in a good headspace. So like, at least I'm getting healthy. I'm not happy about where I'm at financially. At least I'm getting healthy, right? And like, I'm not saying to stop going to the gym, by the way. All right, like, it was just for like 2 months I had to make that trade-off of my business for the gym, but. Sometimes you got to let stuff go to grow somewhere else for a little bit, right? But like, I was using things like scrolling, even the healthy habits like the gym, just to like take me like the short-term pain away, right? Like, what are some other things? Watching TV, watching your favorite shows and movies, but you're deeply unsatisfied about what you do on a day-to-day basis. There's no time for shows and movies if you're fighting to get yourself out of a shitty situation, okay? I know some of you guys are like, well, like, yeah, but like, that's entertainment. I like, that gives me joy in my life. But if you have like 1 hour a day where you're joyful and the rest of the time that you're just like sad and unhappy, like, then you got to use that hour to get your time back, if that makes sense. So, not saying don't enjoy shows or movies. I love movies. You know, I love watching TV when I can. I watch TV, you know, my favorite shows all the time and stuff. But like when you're fighting to get out, you know, what you consume is so important, right? And you got to start consuming the right things. Again, you're trying to unfuck your mind here. But yeah, you know, I'd watch TV. I'd watch sports. Okay? I'd watch all my Broncos games and my Avalanche games, and I'd be, you know, it'd be 8 or 9 o'clock. I'd just eat a dinner that I was like, all right, I ate dinner, and I got my errands done on the weekends. Maybe you went out on Friday or Saturday. Again, all these things are just like, it feels like we're working hard. We're just going through the motions, and like that is where my mind just felt fucked up, because I had lost a little bit of that ambition, that belief that I was built for more in this life. And a lot of people know that they're built for more than the current life that they're living, and they don't do anything about it. They don't even take a chance because they're scared of what might happen if they try. So if you want to, you know, come to terms with your mind, you know, you got to start fearing what's going to happen if you don't start putting in the work, you don't start making this mindset shift, right? Because like the ultimate fear of living a life you don't want to live, that should be the scariest thing for you. So if you want to unfuck your mind, that was a long list, I guess. Hopefully all that makes sense, you know. And yeah, it's one of those things that you can't really teach mindset to someone. I can tell people, I can tell you guys how to do it, how I was feeling, how I think now. The only way you're going to do it is when you decide that, you know, you only have one life and you got to just make the most out of this. You know, nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm certainly not perfect. I make my fair share of mistakes too, but you have a good mindset, it'll take you as far as you want in this lifetime. And so I put a lot of time and a lot of effort into reading and intentional consumption and being around the right people now, and it's made all the difference in my life. So hopefully this helps somebody. My name's Danny, by the way. If you want more info about what I do for work and whatnot, I didn't talk about that in this video, but I have other content on that as well. So feel free to check that out, and I appreciate y'all watching.